The knock came at my door before sunrise. 3 hard bangs that shook the frame like someone was trying to warn me, not greet me. That's when I realized something about this so-called community. Ranch was wrong. I'd only owned the place for 2 days, yet the air already felt too heavy, like the land itself was holding its breath. I bought the ranch because I needed quiet. After a year that chewed me up, my dad passing, my business collapsing, my relationship falling apart, I just wanted space to breathe. 200 acres of pasture and scrub sounded like peace. The real estate agent had promised friendly neighbors and a strong community. That word, community, became my mistake. The first morning, a group of neighbors showed up carrying pies, jars of preserves, and these overly practiced smiles. "Welcome to the family," they said in a chorus, like they'd rehearsed it. They also mentioned community rules, which they didn't explain. When I asked for a copy, a tall guy named Clay chuckled and clapped me on the back. "Oh, you'll learn. Don't worry." Something about the way he said it made me worry. By day 3, strange things started happening. I spotted figures walking. The edges of my property late at night, flashlights, sweeping slowly back and forth. A motion sensor on my barn blinked red even though I'd never installed one. And someone left a handwritten note on my porch that read, "Be ready for the meeting." No name, just a date, just a time. When I arrived at the old feed hall, 20 people were waiting in a perfect circle. They all wore the same denim jackets with a stitched emblem. A rising sun behind a bull's skull. The atmosphere felt like I'd stepped into a scene I wasn't supposed to see. A woman with silver hair tied in a braid stepped forward. "I'm May," she said. "We're called The Hold, and as of purchasing that ranch, you're part of us." "I didn't agree to that," I said, keeping my voice calm. A man with steel-gray eyes leaned in close enough for me to smell tobacco on his breath. "You bought the land," he said, "and the land comes with responsibilities." I crossed my arms. "Like what?" "Participation," May answered. "Contributions, compliance." "Compliance?" I repeated. "With what?" They didn't answer. They just watched me the way hunters watch an animal making a wrong move. That night, footsteps crunched outside my bedroom window, slow, deliberate. I rushed outside with a flashlight, heart pounding. But the beam caught nothing except dust drifting in the moonlight. By day 10, everything would explode. By day 10, they'd show up with apology checks. But first, I had to learn the truth they never meant for me to uncover. And the truth about what they'd been doing on my land long before I arrived. Day 10 began with a scream. It ripped through the early morning fog, sharp enough to jolt me out of sleep. I grabbed my boots, dashed outside, and followed the sound toward the north pasture. As I ran, the ground felt wrong. Too soft, like something beneath the surface had been disturbed. When I reached the fence line, I saw Clay kneeling in the grass, his denim jacket streaked with dirt. He wasn't hurt. He was staring at something half buried in the soil. A metal lid. It looked like the top of some underground hatch. Clay jumped when he noticed me. "You're not supposed to be out here," he snapped, wiping his hands like he didn't want me to see what he'd touched. "It's my land," I said, breath hot in the cold air. "I can be anywhere I want." May appeared behind him, silent as a shadow. "We told you there are rules," she said. "You're making this difficult." I pointed at the hatch. "What's down there?" May's eyes hardened. "Old business." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one you're getting." She stepped forward, but Clay grabbed her arm. "May, he saw it," he whispered. "We can't just—" "We follow the plan," she cut in sharply. "Always." The way she looked at me then, it wasn't a neighbor's stare. It was a warning. That afternoon, while the community gathered near the barn for one of their meetings, I doubled back to that hatch with a crowbar. The soil was loose, like they'd opened it recently. It took only minutes to pry it free. Cold, stale air rushed out. I lowered myself down a rusty ladder, boots clanging against metal rungs. When I hit the ground, my flashlight beam swept over dusty crates, an old water pump, and piles of equipment I didn't recognize, industrial stuff, heavy stuff. Then I saw the file boxes, dozens of them, labeled with dates. One read, 93, land acquisitions. Another, enforcement reports. My stomach dropped. Inside were records, complaints from previous ranch owners, property disputes. letters from people who claimed the hold had pressured them, threatened them, or forced them to sell. The pattern was unmistakable. They didn't protect the community. They controlled it. And if someone resisted, the enforcement reports made that clear. Footsteps thudded above me. "Get the hell out of there," a voice shouted, Clay's. I scrambled up the ladder, heartbeat slamming in my ears. Clay was waiting, breathing hard, fear written all over his face. "You weren't supposed to find this," he said. May's gonna what?" I demanded. "Run me off like the others? Or worse?" He ran a hand through his hair. "You don't get it. This place, it's not about community. It's about control. It's been like this for 30 years, but it's getting worse." I stepped closer. "Help me. Tell me what they're planning." Clay swallowed hard. "You need to leave. Today, before tonight's vote." "What vote?" His voice cracked. "The vote about what to do with you." And in that moment, I finally understood. They weren't walking my property at night. They were watching me. Clay's warning sat in my chest like a burning coal. A vote about what to do with me. I didn't know if that meant forcing me out, scaring me off, or something darker. But the fear in his eyes told me all I needed to know. I didn't run. I prepared. If the hold wanted control, I'd give them the one thing they couldn't handle, exposure. I spent the afternoon scanning every document from the underground bunker, photographing pages, recording videos, and saving everything to a cloud drive. I drafted a report detailing years of threats, land grabs, and intimidation tactics, all tied back to May and her inner circle. By sundown, the sky glowed orange behind the barn. That's when the pickup truck started rolling in. Headlights slashed across the fields. Doors slammed. Boots thudded against dirt. They gathered in a circle, like always, as if they owned the night. May stepped forward, calm as ever. "Good evening," she said. "Tonight we decide how to address our new members' challenges." I walked into the circle before she finished. "No need," I said, holding up my phone, "because I already addressed it." Her smile flickered. "Explain." "I found your bunker," I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "All your files, all your enforcement logs, 30 years of threats, sabotage, coercion. I photographed it, backed it up, sent it to people who'll make sure it gets seen." A ripple moved through the group. Clay looked at the ground. May's jaw tightened. "This is our community. We do what we must to protect it." "Protect it from what?" I shot back. "Newcomers with questions? People who bought land fair and square? You call it protection. But it's control, fear, abuse." She stepped toward me, anger sharpening her voice. "And what do you expect us to do now?" "Make it right." Someone in the circle whispered. "We didn't know." Another murmured, "Is this true, May?" For the first time, May looked uncertain. Clay raised his voice. "He's telling the truth. I've seen the reports. I wanted out years ago." Silence fell heavy and cracking. Then a man I'd never met stepped forward. "If what he says is real, then we owe him an apology. And we owe everyone we pressured an apology." Another voice chimed in, and another. The circle broke, not physically, but emotionally. Control slipped from May like sand. A week later, I sat on my porch as members of the hold came by one at a time. Heads low, handing me envelopes, apology checks to cover repairs, damages, and months of stress. But the money wasn't the point. The accountability was. May was removed from leadership. The underground bunker was turned over to state authorities. And the community rules were rewritten by people who actually believed in community. As for me, I stayed. This ranch was mine long before they tried to take it. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Never let fear, tradition, or someone else's power keep you from standing up for what's right. And if you ever feel alone in the fight, remember, one voice can break a circle.